Welcome back to the Behind the Bell podcast. I'm your host, Ty Johnson, and based off this pre-interview conversation we've been having, I know this is going to be an impactful conversation. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to Bree Blackman, or Breezy.
Thank you for having me, Ty. I appreciate your time. I respect the craft that you're doing right now, and I look forward to having a conversation that not only change lives but change culture.
Yeah, and Bree, so educational platforms usually struggle to maintain viewers' retention. So for the audience, can you let them know why they should stay tuned into this episode?
I reflected on that as you spoke about the retention, and I think a lot of times we want the reality series and not the reality experience. And so the goal here is to not just give you another show, not another showcase, but the real raw experience of what life truly is, not only in education but outside the four walls of that. And so a lot of times, if it's not entertaining, you feel like it's not educational. But if you can find a creative way to merge the two and find some success, then the retention rate will skyrocket based off the impact that it has, not only just the reality, but the reality of the experience.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And so that's something I'm trying to get a little bit better at. Is I think I've been too hunkered down on the education. But how do I make it appealing?
Yeah.
So hopefully this episode is a kickoff to that.
Yes.
It gives a little jump start. So if we could get into straight off what you're doing now. So let's talk about your current role and what does a day to day look like in that role.
So currently, I'm a orientation and entrepreneur educational teacher here at Joliet West. I also am a youth pastor of my church, and then I head coach the girls varsity program here at Joliet Township. Um, I am a student at heart, but I always knew education was my end goal. And so my current role is to just give back on the court and in the classroom.
Okay. And how do you do it in the classroom?
So in the classroom, I teach a career technical um, segment or subject matter that's outside of your primary subject matters. Consider more of an elective, but it takes you down a career path as opposed to the traditional educational path. What are your interests, whether it's entrepreneurship, marketing, accounting, finances, all of that is a hub in orientation of business. And so it gives the students an intro to career paths that are always primary traditional courses, as in English, math, history, and things of that nature. So my goal or our aim in career technical educational subject matters is to get them down a pathway that puts them more in a real time after high school approach to life. So it's more than just a job. You want to get into trades, you want to be an entrepreneur. And then, too, if you want to just be a business owner, you want to take that traditional educational course, fine. But there's other caveats to get you success in life that's not always the traditional educational approach.
Mm-hmm. And you're coming from corporate, so you just got done applying this in real life in real time. What Why do you feel like this is such important to teach the youth?
So originally, I grew up in our culture. Education was a staple. Like you have to go to college. You have to, and I'm not knocking college. I just think there's other diversified factors that can get you towards the mark that you're trying to press towards too. And so traditionally, I was always brought up in education matters, especially for our African American culture. Like our parents, our great great parents, our great 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 parents died for this. So you have to do it. You have to get an education. And so along the way, I struggled with things that were like standardized testing. So straight A student, 4.5 GPA, top of my class here at Joliet Township. But when it came to standardized testing, there were things that I felt like I lacked in order to prepare me for that next level. And so all along, I struggled when college came to take state tests. So the basic skill test, I took it once, aced it. Once I got into my content area, that's where the rubber met the road, and I struggled a little bit and failed it 3 times. At that time, the approach was, hey, if you don't pass this 5 times, you can only have a middle school endorsement, knowing I always wanted to teach high school kids eventually. So it kind of deviated my path. I was working in the summer, like doing summer school for Washington Junior High School. And my godmom was like, hey, ComEd gave me a contract and we're going to work through some things. If you want to join us in the summer, see if you like it. You know, it'll be like a little starter pack for you and see where it goes from there. Well, I got in there, started making decent money, and I was like, you know, I think I kind of like this. It was a challenge, and I'm all about facing challenges head on. So from there, 9.5 years, I did it. I stuck it out, worked corporate, behind the scenes, a laptop in front of me, helping out customers mitigate things that brought solutions to whatever utility service they had. And then from there, I experienced a layoff that was timely. Like, I don't feel like it was a discredit to who I was as a person, but as I reflect on it, it platformed me into my first love, which was education. And it was like, you know what, it's time to go back. It's time to give back. It's time to give gems. And I networked with a certain group of people, and it brought me back into the educational world in ways that even I couldn't have connected. Because what I thought was, okay, my knowledge needs to get me in the door. But I also realized that if you parallel that with who you know and who you network with, then it grows and develops you in ways that no man can explain.
And I completely agree. I'm pretty sure the audience is kind of tired of hearing that because we talk about networking
Yeah.
pretty much in every single episode. So I'm hoping that eventually it seeps in and seeps into the youth specifically, that networking is huge. And actually, it's not even just a youth; it's just an everybody thing.
It is.
Networking is so huge. What they say, network is your net
Yeah,
worth.
your net worth is your network. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I think it's just very huge that you bring it up once again. And it, like you said, it propelled you into a career field that maybe you didn't see yourself going down.
Yeah.
And allowed you to gain that experience. And so now, whether you continue to do it or not, you still have that experience and that knowledge that you learned from that place. Yeah. And then the next thing I want to go to is that you have a very contagious energy. I want to get into your life story a little bit later, but you've been through a lot in your life. But you still maintain this contagious energy. When you walk in the room, when you walked in here this morning, you singing at 7:30 in the morning, even though you were up to 2 a.m.
Yeah.
What brings on this infectious energy, and why is it important for you to bring that into school?
For sure. For me, I always, when I was younger, because of the hardships, and obviously we'll talk about that, I always wanted to get a second chance to make somebody's day better. It was always about, hey, what I didn't do yesterday, I get another chance to do it today. And my mentor and I talk about this all the time, like, bro, you're just a 1%. You're in this 1% category that most people can never get to, but they should be striving towards. And so for me, it was like, kids didn't ask to be here. That's how it started, because my original purpose was like, I know I'm called to coach youth. And we could take it a step further, like, you didn't ask to be here, no matter the age you are. And so it was like, if I can get them the breezy impact every time they meet me so that they're left with a beacon of light that they may not have gotten, that's what I want to do. And so when I enter a room, it's not that I need to command the energy, but I need to bring it in a way that says, I'm happy to see you, you're happy to see me. We both know we got circumstances here that we didn't have to be here, but we're here now. And growing up, I just always wanted people to feel like, no, you're here for a reason. And because you're here for a reason, I'm going to greet you as such. And so I really thrive on giving everybody the breezy experience. When you walk away from me, you should feel a breeze. Like, I say that like in the most respectful way to everybody. When I walk away from you, there should be a breeze, and I embody that like in a way that my family knows, my friends know, my students know. You should feel a breeze. It should be refreshing. It should be a fresh wind. You should feel encouraged. You should feel ignited. Like, the breezy impact is what I thrive on.
And I completely concur with that. You do a phenomenal job. Just your presence is always felt, and it's always felt in a positive light. Like, people, whether it's administration, your peers, the students, they always speak so highly of you, and they always leave you, I feel like, whether it's a hard conversation, a light, more enjoyable conversation, they always leave just, like you said, feeling refreshed, feeling that breeze.
Feeling the breeze.
I think that's great. And so one thing I want to touch on is that it's this kind of paradigm that we're in. Do you stay at the ground level and work with the kids and have hands-on interactions with the kids, or do you climb higher and maybe create some structural change to help the kids, but now you're not able to touch them? Have you ever thought about moving up to administrative ranks?
I mean, that's always a tough question because um, I like to be in the trenches, but that's because I'm comfortable. The ground level is comfortable. And so I have to be stretched beyond my comfortability to really make change. Like you could be at the bottom of the barrel and not know what's going on up top, or you could come from the top, take that bird's eye view and look down and say, okay, this is how we navigate. This is how we pull this one in. And so it takes a level of, yeah, I'm okay here, but I know I can't stay here because of the change that's needed. I just don't, and my pastor, he quotes this all the time, you don't stay in the hospital that you're born in. Like Joliet is where I was born, but I can't stay because the biggest way to make change is from the outside, and then you bring it back in because there's just resources that I have to get for myself that'll help me change and impact the culture here at Joliet West. And so to answer your question, I know I can't stay. Like I know that this is groundbreaking. I know this is a door. I know this is a gateway, but I know I can't stay here to truly make the change. I gotta put myself in positions of power to make the change that's needed to impact the culture at large.
And I hear so much purpose. I feel like this is so purpose driven.
Yes.
What I feel like we're shaped by the things that transpire in our life. What is something that you feel like really shaped and molded your mindset and always being purpose driven?
So when I was younger, I just knew I was called to coach. When I was little, and coaching is not just on a basketball court. It's the coach. I'm a coach for life. Like no matter if it's in a classroom, if it's in a room with administrators, like I'm just called to coach. And so I don't take that so literal. I take that as expansion. And I try to take that and put it in every avenue by which I navigate. And so the pivotal point in my life was realizing that you do have a call on your life that's bigger than you. When the call is bigger than you, then nothing or no one can stop you. You know that there's a no quit. I was watching an interview by Kevin Hart. He was like, I just knew I couldn't quit. Like there's no quit in me. So regardless of how hard it gets, how life knocks you down, we can use excuses and say, oh, woe is me. I'm having a pity party and I want to invite you in. Or you can say, you know what? I'm going to take that pity, pivot it into something else because that's a part of my purpose. I remember being younger, playing school with my siblings. I always had to be the teacher. You know, my mom would entrust me to stay at home when my siblings got sick. I was the middle child. But it was always like, no, I'm going to give you this responsibility because I know you can handle it. And then I'm going to look at that responsibility, evaluate it and say, okay, no, she's really called to be a leader, which is why I believe around 7th, 8th grade, my mom was like, you know what? I got to put her in the hands of other leaders and push her out the household. I left out of my mom's house about 7th, 8th grade and push her away from this environment to get her to where she needs to go.
That's huge. I'm pretty sure that's a very pivotal,
very
pivotal point in your life. If we could, can you take us down that road? What was that time like? Because you're young, but you're still old enough to understand at that point.
Yes.
Okay, so you're seeing what's going on around you. You feel it. You understand. Maybe not why your mom had to do that.
Yeah.
But because I imagine there probably was some hurt there.
Yeah.
And kind of questioning what's going on. Can you take us down that road?
So at that moment, it started off like, hey, you're just gonna spend summers with your aunt. You know, I was really like pursuing my faith as well. But at the same time, I was also having troubled backgrounds in the interim where it was like I would struggle behaviorally because I was so bored. Like I would be in class, I was in all honors classes, and I would get bored. I would master the subject matter. I love challenges. Like I welcome them. I want to see how well I master this. And my mom was like, but you get in trouble for goofy stuff. Now you suspended. Now you in the dean's office. But my mom was she was a realist. Like she was real. And she kept it 100 with me. And she was like, this ain't for you though. Like, and because your environment is trying to entice you, let me pluck you out. And I was frustrated because I'm like, but it's 5 of us at the time. By this time, my mom has had a total of 5 kids. And so now you're telling me like I have to leave and go stay with my aunt. Well, what about them? And then there was a sense of like, man, I gotta leave my siblings to go over here. And I had a lot of questions that weren't getting answers to at 7th, 8th grade. And so there was this internal frustration because I didn't know. But that frustration kept pushing me towards, but I wanna know. I gotta know. I gotta figure this out. And it was hard because now I'm living with my aunt who has her 5 grandkids and her son. So it's a total of 7 of us. Now the household just expanded. It's 7 of us. My aunt's a pastor, and I didn't get it until now. I didn't get that you have to step away from the groundbreaking foundation and see it from a bird's eye view in order to make an impact. And it brought strains in our relationships. My mother, my siblings, it was strange. It was strenuous because they didn't understand. I didn't understand. And it gave you like this almost black sheep aura. But I didn't take the black sheep and look at it as darkness. I looked at it as, oh no, you called to something greater than what your environment can give you.
And so you kept saying that word a lot, environment. What was so detrimental about the environment that was holding you back, or at least that your mom felt that was holding you back?
So my mom, we grew up on public housing. And so we didn't have, I would come in sometimes and flip the light switch, the lights ain't coming on. I would come in sometimes, I'm trying to take a shower after a long basketball game practice. We don't have any hot water. I was trying to contain myself to fit in with a environment of, drugs, seeing your parents in domestic violence relationships. And that became a normal when in reality it's abnormality. And I think sometimes because we're just in it for so long, it's just like, oh, this is what we all go through when you're part of the public housing system. This is what we all go through when your mother has to depend on the system to provide for her children. This is what there were days like I didn't see my mom 3, 4, 5 days in a row. She's working. We were literally like 2 ships passing at sea. So to know that I probably needed to be parented and stewarded in another direction to become who I am today, my mom took a risk, and it broke our relationship. Like it severed it for a minute because now I'm under the tutelage of my aunt, who's a pastor, and she's strict. Like the rules were like you're gonna bend, but you're not going to break. And I went from a latchkey kid. I let myself in the house. I was on a pace bus at 5 years old. My mom was working at Church's Chicken. We were transferring downtown Joliet. She left 50 cents on that table. Bree, I'm holding you accountable. You and your sister get on a pace bus, transfer downtown Joliet, then go to Eliza Kelly, and then take the alley to your grandma's house after school. 5 years old. You can do a 5-year-old like that today. They not making it.
No.
They not making it.
You not making it. The authorities will be at your door.
Yes. But we was brought up in that what goes on in the house stays in the house. Mm-hmm. You look after each other. My mama taught us that. Like she was a grinder, she was a hustler, so she was always like, you look after your siblings. Something go down, y'all go down together. Like it was never a like sometimes it's like a lot of sibling rivalry right now because they compete with each other. It wasn't that for us. It was like we experienced this together in this environment. We gonna go through this together in this environment. And sometimes I had to be the more responsible one. I'm 5, but I had to figure that out. And then at the end of the day, I knew my mom was like working double shifts. So we had to take the alley to my grandma's house and then, go sit at my grandma's house until my mom got off work. And so it was different in the sense that you would get in a lot of trouble right now if you did that. DCFS will be there. They'll be reporting you. But my mom had to do what she had to do. And I think it just made a better version of who Bree is today.
Mm. And I've been hearing this a lot too. I don't know, the mental health space is right now. It's a little bit different. But they were just saying how everybody goes through trauma. And the trauma shapes who you are. Sometimes it could be for the better, sometimes it could be for worse, but everybody goes through trauma that kind of shapes who you are. So just like if you reach out and touch a hot stove, you're going to pull your hand back, and that trauma has taught you that I'm not going to reach out to touch something hot again. So I feel like this is a prime example of that you went through this trauma, and now you know what it's like.
Yeah.
And now you're able to take that kind of compartmentalize it,
Yeah.
and now administer that same empathy and knowledge into your students, which I feel like is probably so huge for them, because we're in a time economically where it's hard for a lot of our students to make it,
Yeah, it is.
and our parents they're struggling. So I think just having you as that sounding board to be able to speak to, I know is huge for them.
Yeah. And I give them pockets. Like because they can't handle the weight of what I carry. And I don't even share the story a lot because sharing it sometimes is a reminder of, dang, you really went through that. Like, you have every excuse to just take a break. Like, my trauma could tell me, like, you know what? You deserve to cry. You deserve to wallow in your pity. You deserve to just let life consume you. No, but you also deserve to get up. You also deserve to fight for breathe. Like, nobody's going to fight for you like you could fight for you. And I think the hardest part with this generation is they have a screen in front of them that they make a false comparison to every single day. I didn't get the offer. I didn't get the acceptance letter. My grades aren't this. And they scroll through a false reality of who they really are called to be. And so it's my job as an educator, as an influencer, to say, no, you're bigger than what's behind that screen. We didn't have screens. I mean, we had, 3 minutes after 9 and 500 text messages, but we didn't have, and then when they got free after 7, we really thought we was upgraded. But we didn't have reality, false reality right in front of us. But I think they take that as truth because that's the only social networking that they do. They not sitting down having a conversation, wanting to know. And so people ask me all the time, they're like, how do your girls, because my girls are known for this, they come out of the locker room and they a different locker room second half type of team. And I said, there's an intimate space that we navigate through in that moment that gets them over the threshold of I can't. No, you can. There's still time on the clock. Michael Jordan said it best, like, I never lost a game. I ran out of time. And you got to live life like that. Like, I can't sit here and play like I can't lose. I got to play to win. And when you play to win, there is no stopping you. There is no.
And I like that so much. My brother, he was on the podcast too, and he said, it's a pity pool, and it's okay to put your feet in it and switch your feet around, but you just can't sit in it.
Yeah.
And I love that saying so much because we do have to make time. We have to make time to grieve. We have to find some time just to be in our feelings sometimes, but we can't live there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the more important things. And so we talk about the students, and you're talking about your players. So we're in your locker room right now. Let's talk about your inspiration for basketball. Where did that come from? I think I heard you say that you playing too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can we talk about that journey?
So when we were in 4th grade, we left Joliet, moved to University Park. And I was always the girl that kicked it with the guys. Like, whatever the boys did, I just thought the boys was having fun. Like, girls want to sit up and, gossip and play and make it. Boys was outside kicking it. So I would go to the court with my ball, and I would play basketball with a group of boys. With this one boy, Mighty, we became like siblings. And he was like, nah, Bree can always play with us. Like, she got the ball. She bring the ball kind of like Don Staley. If you bring the ball to the court, you can play with her ball. She could play too. So I started playing, and his parents ran at this time, it was like a park district league. And they ran his park district league, and he was going home telling his parents, like, look, Ma, you got to get Bree on this team, like, blah, blah, blah. And my parents couldn't afford it. And he was like, I know her circumstances, but, like, if you get us on a team with us, I was the only girl playing in an all-boys program. And his parents sponsored me, and God rest his dad. So in 8th grade, he passed away in a motorcycle accident, but they were my intro to the game. And it was like, man, this is something that could take me away from my environment and give me something to thrive towards every single day. So I remember having my stepdad put a basketball rim on top of the garage, like, and our driveway was slanted up, and I would have to adjust my shot to shoot upwards on this garage rim, and it just fueled something inside of me. Like, I felt like I was in the zone. I feel like it was just me. I feel like I could focus on who Bree really was. It gave me time to heal. Like I would be out there frustrated sometimes. I'm trying to shoot the ball uphill and it's not working. Like I'm going against the grain to try to get the ball in the basket. But Mighty and his family, the Childress family, is really what introduced me. They sponsored me. They made sure I was good. I was spending nights at their house to get to games the next morning. And his mom, we're tight even to this day. Like she's like another bonus parent of mine, and she kept me solid. And I remember the day we was like our 8th grade year of middle school, and we got the news about his passing, and she was like, "You know what? Mike always told me to look out for you. Like whether it's on or off the court, you can always come down." They was literally like down the street from me. I would walk down the hill to get to them, and she was like, "Mike told me to look after you." And 36 years, she just had a birthday a couple days ago. She's still looking after me. So that was my fuel to the game. And then also, my godmother played for UW. She played for the Huskies. And I would read in the paper. My mom would have clippings. They were best friends. She grew up in Lockport. Shout out to my MJ. But she was an example of something that I had to push towards. And I was like, man, if I see this image in front of me every day, like I could be like her. Like I want to be like MJ. She was my MJ. And from, I think she probably hooped in like 92, 93-ish, like at UW, played for the Huskies. They was part of that whole diaper dandy crew. And just to see that, I was like, man, I want to do that. That's something different. It was something outside of my environment that I had never seen. And so that's where my love of the game pretty much came from.
Okay, and then so that started in 8th grade?
It started in 4th grade.
Fourth grade. Fourth grade. And so then we go up to middle school, we go through high school. And do we go on to play in college?
Yeah, so we did like 1 year at North Central College. I played Crete-Monee. I was back and forth between Joliet West and Crete-Monee High School. When I would get in trouble, my aunt would be like, man, your mama needs to deal with you. You know, because it would be a lot for her. She already got 6 kids in the house. So then you add this 7th problem, it's like, no, you need a break. And so there were times I was transferring back and forth until Joliet West was like, she can't transfer anymore. If she transfer again, like, we're going to have to investigate this because she needs stability. Like, it made me have to sacrifice the induction in the National Honor Society because I wasn't at a school consistently for the time needed to be inducted. But I really wanted to prove to myself that it was more out there for Bree as opposed to just, like, being comfortable and complacent in my environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could probably be here all day because like every time you say something, I'm just so intrigued. Okay, how did this happen? How did that happen? And it's just, you really do have a testimony. You really do have a testimony. And before we get into the spiritual side, I do want to ask because you brought up Dawn Staley.
Okay.
She has been phenomenal. She has really helped shine a light on women's basketball.
Yes.
How has that helped and molded the way that you coach?
Dawn is my auntie. Like, I have for the last 3 years, mainly when I entered into the girls' high school coaching world, because I coached 14 plus years with boys. It was all boys. And now that I reflect, it's because that's how I was brought into the game. I was the only girl with all boys. So ironically, I only coached boys initially. So then as I started to migrate into the girls' world, a lady from Pika League had saw me. She was like, you should coach for the girls' AAU team. I was like, at this time, my boys getting older, like CJ and them, Danny Tops. Like, they're getting older. So I'm like, okay, it's probably time to allow them to be young men, be trained under young men. So it might be time to migrate. I was talking to my mentor. She was like, yeah, Bree, this is part of being part of the 1%. She loves tagging that 1% line. I was just like, so you think it's time for me to coach girls? She was like, yes, it's going to be another challenge. Welcome to the challenge. So I started really diving into Dawn Staley's culture, history, books, watching documentaries. I watch a coach's playbook by Dawn Staley probably every 2 weeks. And I take something out of that documentary every single day and use it as a caveat to propel me. She was talking about in the beginning, I could count on 2 hands how many fans we had here at the Gamecocks Arena. My first year, I flew out, I sat in the arena, and I wanted to feel what it was like to be Dawn Staley and impact the masses. but I knew that it would take a lot of time. So I sat there and I called my mentor and I was like, "Hey, Mama Bear, what you thinking? The game's tomorrow." She was like, "You're gonna meet her tomorrow. You're gonna take her a gift, because people always want to take and receive. You're gonna give her something that she can hold to." Now, I ain't gonna lie. Fear gripped me. Like, I'm like, it's no way. Dawn was at like the pinnacle of her career. She don't want championships. Like, I'm not fit to meet Dawn. But my mentor, like, when I tell you that woman believes in me, she believes in Bree. And I was just like, okay. So I got a little nervous. I never really went and got the gift. She said, "Well, did you at least write the letter?" Because she had told me to write a letter too. I was like, "No." She was like, "Write the letter, call me back." So I wrote the letter, called her back. She was like, "Now go get the gift." And she was adamant. When I got the gift, I kid you not, something happened. And I usually get good seats at the game because I want to be in the know. Dawn looked at me. She walked over to me. She was like, "Thank you for being at my game," yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, whoa. Now at this point, yeah, there's a little fan in me. Like, I'm frozen. And I'm like, oh, man, I was supposed to give her the gift. So I just raided into the crowd. She circulated because she has like, she'll greet a couple people if you come to the court. But obviously, like any coach, you're trying to get to the locker room. You're trying to get out and go to your family. So we locked eyes again. And she was like, "I want to say thank you again." And I said, "You know what? Actually, Coach Staley, I wanted to give you this. I got a gift." It was a bracelet saying "delayed and not denied," which is the quote that she always uses. And then I had wrote her a thank you letter. And I said, "If you could do me one more favor and autograph my shoes." I had some Jordan 1s, burgundy suede. If Ty, you know how I feel about my sneakers. I took the sneaker off. She signed it on the gold swoop, and I'm never going to wear the shoe again. That's just impactful how she is in my life, in the culture of women's basketball. Like, where women's basketball is going is unprecedented. Like, we have not been here in years. This is what we wanted to see. Like, and obviously, men that say, "Oh, well, they not dunking, they not doing this." But one thing I love about girls is they thrive on playing basketball the correct way. And so when you see it, you're gonna see a knockdown shooter. You're gonna see them cut the seams. And obviously with girls, we're very robotic. So sometimes we don't take that extra skill that the guys have and pivot through the seam and actually go for the shot. Coach told me to dump it, right? And so what Dawn has always shown me in her walk was you got to build relationships with these girls. In order to get them to buy in and think beyond their box that they put themselves in, you got to buy into relationship building in your city. She said she came into South Carolina and people was like, "Oh, this is a racial-driven city, town." She changed the culture. There's statues going to be after her. Asia Wilson, and I watched her take her time. She didn't come in winning championships. She was at the ground too. Carolyn Peck gave her a piece of her net saying, "Dawn, I believe in you. So here's a piece of my net. And at some point, you're going to share this experience with everybody else." And she said she did that. She won her first championship. She cut down the net, and she gave every African woman head coach a piece of her net to give them something tangible to hold on to continue to pursue every dream that they ever had within them.
That's huge. That's huge. And I think it's just it's so incredible that all this stuff. So it's like that you're actually doing your homework.
Oh, yeah.
This is not just you. "Oh, I like that she's winning championships."
No.
You're diving into a history, and there was just so much in that one story right there. The fact that you went out there to go see her physically, and you were kind of determined to be. But B, you had a mentor there, or that you were able to contact, and she was pushing you. But then I think the biggest thing at all, because we can listen to this podcast, we can read books, we can do all that, but all of it, in my opinion, is useless unless we act on it.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you acted on it against what you felt,
against
what you
thought. Afraid and all.
But you still went and delivered it. But then I think that was probably a transformational moment for you too, because your mentor is telling you this is going to happen, this is going to happen.
Yes.
You're like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. And then it ended up coming true.
Yes.
And then it seems like Dawn didn't do that to anybody else, but she locked eyes with you again and found you. So once again, going back to that purpose, back to your energy, back to being breezy.
Yeah.
She probably felt that breeze.
Yeah, she probably did. And I felt it too. I'm like, she got what I got. And, sometimes you will deduce yourself because you feel like, nah, ain't nobody really seeing me. No, Bree, people see you. And you deserve to show other people how they could be seen too. This just didn't happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in one day. Like, it's line upon line, precept upon precept. I still get afraid every time I step on a hardwood. There's a little nervousness there, but that's my humility saying, obviously part of my faith. God, I can't do it. You got it. Like, I can't sit here and have. I am a ball of wealth. I was 4, 5, even 3 years old, pulling encyclopedias out of my aunt daycare and reading them. What is Antarctica? What is the constellation? What is, like, I just was a nerd, and I didn't realize like how much I could store up information until it was like, I want more. Oh, that's not enough. I would get bored. Oh, I want more. I want more. I want more. And so I study people's lives. Like, I can't say Don Staley's my GOAT without knowing about the GOAT. Like, she grew up kind of how I grew up. Like, projects, Philly girl, like tomboy, like, and she just had this aura about it that I was like, I like that. That's attractive. It wasn't because she was winning the championships. It was where she started and where she's still thriving to get to. She has to go up against things that I'm gonna have to go up against one day too. I feel it now too. It's hard being a black woman in this culture, and you have to continue to say, you know what? Either I'm gonna succumb to the environment or I'm gonna endure the environment. And I say environment a lot because that's really what shapes you. You are in control to shift it though. Like, I don't care. I see somebody get murdered in front of me. I seen somebody dead, a body on the floor. Although that's traumatic, I tell myself this all the time. Like, seeing that keeps me humble. Seeing that keeps me focused. Seeing that lets me know, like, you know what, even though you saw this, you got to use this. Keep this in your tool belt. Use it later for when a student come and tell you, hey, my cousin just got shot. Or, hey, my mom and them don't have food. Like, I understand you. And I'm not saying everybody got it. You don't need a struggle life story to be successful, but you need lessons in life. I told my girls this year, it's not about wins and losses. It's about wisdom and lessons. And they could quote that to you. If you go walk up to them right now, what coach tell you? Because when you focus on the outcome, you lose sight on all the development and progress it takes to get to those outcomes. So we got to focus here to get to there. Mm-hmm. So all the wisdom and lessons that you get along the way, that's what you really going to use in life. Yes, at some point, some of you may play basketball at the end level, but at some point, basketball will end. So what wisdom and lessons would you have gained from this journey?
Mm-hmm. I forgot you said you were a youth pastor. You up here preaching.
I know I have to slow down a little bit because I get in my bag, and before you know it, I'm like, okay.
I know you want to go there. You said precept on precept. We got to get into that spiritual piece. But I did want to ask you, just staying on basketball. You're talking about just what you receive from your mentors, what you receive from your GOATs, and you talked about a little bit about what you pour into your kids. And sometimes as a coach, not sometimes, a lot of times, we have to draw a line. Like, we have to be able to, you know what, not right now, like, we can't do this right now. Or even the relationship, you got to understand, like, you're their coach, they're very close to you, but at the end of the day, you're not your kids.
Absolutely.
And they just go through a lot of different things, highs and lows. If we just talk about the reality of the thing too, dealing with young women is a lot different than dealing with young men. Because, you know, hormone things, they're going through different things, they're learning, growing with their bodies. You know, lots going on, as the young men are too, but the hormones are a little bit different. The emotions are a little bit different. You had to endure a lot in the past couple of coaching seasons. Can you walk us through that journey?
You know, I think about it because even though I had to endure it, I still knew I was called to it. Like, it was hard to go in an interview, like, blindly. Like, you got, so many coaches trying to seek this seat, but are they called to the seat? Mm-hmm. Right? And so I had to kind of recenter myself and say, well, what if it doesn't happen? You still going to pursue. And so the interview process in itself was like an overwhelming experience. So you go through these interviews and obviously you start hearing, like, am I qualified? They pick somebody better, blah, blah, blah. Those voices try to consume you, but then you revert back to the fact that, oh, this is who I am. So fast forward, we get chosen. I get chosen. It's time. Let's walk it. You walk in the avenue like, oh, man, I'm one of the first female head black coaches here at Joliet West, leading a very diverse group of young ladies into their future. It's an honor. So you go through that almost like, I arrive moment, and then you settle in. And it literally was like, probably after my first practice, I called my mentor and I was like, what's this I'm feeling? She was like, you passed the celebration moment. Like, you got past the moment of, I made it. And then you like, it's not enough. Like, and that's what I love about you, Bree, because you just don't stay there. Like, you like, no, this ain't gonna be a breeze. As much as I give you the breezy effect, this ain't gonna be a breeze. That first year we was losing. I think we probably were 0-6, 0-7. And I got a group of girls that I've never had any relationships with, and I'm taking them from another coach. So I got to undo, untrain, unlearn maybe his philosophies and his approach, and then have them embrace mine. And I knew I didn't have time to do it. I got one season. So, excuse me, we were on a little losing streak, opening WJL slow. And I always thrived on the fact that it's not in how you start, it's how you finish. And then all of a sudden the girls bought into it, and we went on like an 8-0 run. Like, we was in the paper, they was coming to talk to us. They like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we built relationships. We built relationships. We built relationships. And once they trusted me, it was over with. They'll do anything for me. And that first year, honestly, was unprecedented. Because when I talked to the coach former before me, he was like, hey, my first year I was like 2-19 or whatever his number was. It was really low. And to just be over 500, to have a decent season coming out the gate first year, it was remarkable. Second year, we went through so much adversity. I mean, we had a fight in the locker room. We had tension in the room, like trying to figure out if they're really buying into the program, if they're really buying into my philosophies. And it was hard. That was a year of adversity. It's like your sophomore season of high school. And that's how I parallel my seasons as a coach. Like, freshman year is fun. Hey, we made it. We in high school. Sophomore year is like, oh, I'm trying to get my license. I'm trying, like, there are milestones in your sophomore year that are kind of like mundane, kind of bland, and you like, oh man, okay, the thrill of being a freshman is no more. We got to go to class every day. That's how it was my second year. It was like, okay, the first year is the hype is gone. Like, we got to still go to practice every day. We still got to show up and show out. And it was tough. Year 2 was tough. It's like terrible twos. Like, it was tough. And then year 3 has been more so, hey, this is my junior year. Like, you mature a little bit. You quiet the outside noise. You find mentors. Krieger, another great mentor of mine. We talk on and off the court about life. He be like, breathing skills. He like, Bree needs to go to sleep. So when I'm up at 2 a.m., I'm like, dang, I got to talk to my brother about how I was up at 2 a.m. He going to unpack me. He going to be like, get in military formation, lay down on the floor, put your knees up so you could get some rest. But that junior years, you're a little more mature. You could drive now. You got your license. It's a little more control that you have of the vehicle as opposed to year 1, year 2. So junior year, I am looking forward to the maturity. I am looking forward to the girls that I've had for 3 years now, that we're going to have a different level of connection and utilizing the do's and don'ts of year 1 and 2 and making a pivotal caveat into something different this junior season.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, I did want to also touch on how have you been dealing with, we live in a different day and age. It's not just the girls team, it's the boys team. And it's not just here, it's everywhere. Where high school has turned into a little bit of what college is. Like, there is unofficially a transfer portal in high school. Yes. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you navigate though that terrain?
You know what? I try to tell my players and parents that you have to go in the direction that you see best fit for you and your child. So regardless of what we may want in the program, like, we want loyalty, we want longevity, we want them to stay here, we want to see them for 4 years. I still try to give the parent and player my support and say, if that's your plank that you want to walk, you got to walk it and you got to jump in. Like, it's even though, like, there are a level of emotions that you like, man, we just lost a player, or this one transferred out, or I can't focus on that. I got to focus with what's in front of me and believe and hope that what's in front of me, all I have is all I need. That's a quote that I got from Pastor Mike Todd. Like, that's all I need. And so now I got to build with what's in front of me. I can't be like envying or having covetousness of somebody else's house, but this is my house. So now that this is my house, how are we going to build it? Are we going to focus on wins and losses? No, it's gonna be wisdom and lessons. Like, because if I take my thoughts down the road untraveled, I'm not traveling that transfer portal road. Even though I despise it. Like, I just feel like loyalty isn't there. Like, and you know me, I'm a Joliet like native. Like, I want you to stay here. I went here, I played here, I teach here, I coach here. Like, that's a different narrative that everybody don't get to have pride in. So I want them to have that pride. Like, but then they get so deterred by what they see. Social media is a blessing and a curse, right? It's one of those things you can use and abuse at the same time. And so I think sometimes because they make this false comparison and this ideology of who they're supposed to be based off a social media, oh, so and so transferred, oh, so and so announced their offer, they thrive in that. And it's like, sometimes I wish like the world would just shut it down. Like, just shut down social media for like 48 hours and watch how the world gets a reset. It's kind of like COVID. Like, even though it happened, I felt like for me, it gave me a little more gratitude. Like, it gave me more gratitude to cook at home. It gave me more gratitude to embrace like those that mean a lot to me, because it forced you to quarantine and lock in on what seems like chaos and something I'm chasing that I don't need to chase. And so with the transfer portal, I don't really care for it. Like I said, I would like kids who grew up in Joliet to come out and graduate from Joliet to play for Joliet and then rep Joliet when they leave here. But I feel like it's a hard road to travel when students and players are focused on the social media content in front of them.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. And I do want to touch on, so I think, yeah, social media, like you said, it could be a tool, but it also can be something that hinders you and holds you back. And I think you've been trying to um, change and alter that kind of narrative. And can you tell us a little bit about how you do that? Because I'm also kind of curious that if you ever get nervous about, because you do it in a school as well. Do you ever get nervous about kind of exposing some of your students to that environment? Because we got a lot of
Yeah.
keyboard warriors out there.
Yeah, I have to really use discernment. Like, I really have to, and sometimes I just have to go with it. Like, I put content out there, just to give a light, because I feel like sometimes social media is so like daunting and dark, and sometimes it can, depending on your algorithms. I try to force my algorithms towards positivity and Mel Robbins and the let them like, I'm all for like positivity and sharpening my mind. And so it's very rare that I kind of get that darkness in my algorithms, but I also know it's a tactic for me even with my students. Like, okay, if they can come and they thrive on this, like if they come to school and they be like, that's the teacher from TikTok, that's the teacher from Instagram, like that gives them hope, hopefully, to just want to go to school. Like, honestly, these kids struggle to be here every day. So if I can be a light for them, I won't dim it. And sometimes that's risky. Sometimes that's, hey, they be like, oh, well, she on there hyping kids up, but she got a losing record. Like, I don't care about that. Like, did their life change? Was I a light in their life? And so as long as I'm doing something to me that adds life and value to my students, even with, Twitter wars and trigger fingers, like, I can't control that. I just had a content went viral, 200K, right? But I couldn't focus on like somebody like saying the negative. I focused on like, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen in high school a class giving. And so and the kids buy into it. Like, this is their idea. We're in a business class. So it's all about like more ways to sharpen your craft as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, or give me creative knowledge. That they came up with the name class giving. That wasn't me. I got to shout them out. They was like, we should call it a class giving. And we should do kind of like color wars. And so you got to sometimes meet them where they at. Like, that's where they at. And so if I could take the tool where they're at and they see something different, maybe I could spark change.
Yeah, Bridge. we just met not that long ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 years ago now.
Yeah, 3 solid.
And it feels like I've known you forever. Like, you have this aura. You have this aura that radiates off of you, and it's so transformational for me. Like, I wouldn't say fighting back tears, but it's just like something about you. I'm just like, man, this woman right here is very impactful. And this is somebody that we truly need to have around our kids. we need to have, and she needs to be supported, and she needs to be protected. So I just want to thank you. It's an intermission from the interview, but I just wanted to provide you your flowers as I'm thinking about it right now. But I want to get into what I know you've been burning to talk about. Let's get into your spiritual journey. Where did it begin, and where is it now for you?
I mean, it started at like a Easter play. Like I think I was at like some like Easter service with one of my aunts, and my aunts are like they're huge in my spiritual journey because they all grew up Christian. And so one of my aunts was a pastor. They both were singers. Like I grew up like musically inclined to like zone out. So like music takes me to places that, sometimes even a mentor can't take me. I just zone out and I just get one with God or one with Jay-Z, and we locked in, and I'm like, okay, I am the heart of the city. Like ain't like those kind of things. Drake them, like they started from the bottom, now I'm here. Like those things charge me. And so when my aunt took me to this, it was just something about the energy in the room that was just like, I want a connection with this, a connection to what calms you, a connection to what recenters you, a connection to what focuses you. And that's how my walk with Christ started. I probably was like 8. Like I was always inquisitive. So if you take me to an Easter service, I want to know why we going. Who is this Jesus Christ that he's our Lord and Savior? What? Like I had all these questions, and my aunts love questions. So I've always been one is like, I'm gonna ask the question. I'm gonna ask the hard question, whether it's a stupid question or not, I'm gonna ask. So I started asking questions, and it started pulling me towards a being that I felt like was different from the West. Like I found comfort in him. I found faith and passion in him. I found purpose in him. And it was just one of those things like, even though my environment is very traumatic, and obviously we ain't even gotten the bells and whistles of that, there's something about having a presence and a being that sustains you. Like Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all my heart. Lean not to my own understanding, because I'm flawed. In all my ways I acknowledge him, and he direct my path. Like I don't know the way, but he does. And so for me, that connection started with my aunt at the Easter service. And then obviously when I got to 7th, 8th grade and I moved with my aunt, who was the pastor, then my faith began to unwind in a way. I started studying. I started pursuing, started taking classes. I'm reading my Bible. I'm reading Proverbs. That was always like the starter pack. Anybody want to know more about the Bible, read Proverbs. It's a wisdom book. 1-31. You can do it at the top of the month and end at the end of the month. 1-31. And so I was always inquisitive. And so once I made that connection with him, I started having to grow up too, from not just being under my aunt. It was like, okay, now you need your own. Like you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. Like you need to be able to sit in something and know that it's real, and not be because your aunts or someone told you. You start finding it for yourself. So then that started paralleling me in like teaching the youth. I started pursuing other churches. I went to Christ Temple in Joliet for a little bit, and that was a hard biblical foundation. Like they taught me knowledge in a way that most charismatic or like the warm and fluffy churches, we was in the trenches. Like we talking about no pants for women. Like we studying. I was Sunday school teacher. Like I was locked in. Like you couldn't tell me that the Old Testament said this and the New Testament told me that. Like I was dialed in. So then from there, as I mentioned earlier in the segment, I went to see a pastor who is now my mentor, my spiritual father, him and his wife, and he was preaching about you don't stay in the hospital that you're born in. So even though I had all this foundation biblically, it still was another level. And so that's when I joined their church, All Nations Chicago. Shout out to them. And they just really prepared me into purpose. Right now, I currently hold the seat as their youth pastor for middle school to high schoolers. And that's my baby. And I had told God, I said, if I could do this secularly, like if I could give back in the educational system in the world, I give it back to my church. And so that youth pastor journey really just started like maybe a year or so ago. I had taught little kids before, like 7 and 9-year-olds. And then I did a lot of other serving on a security team and armor bearer team. But the youth is who I am. Like I always live with the motto that kids didn't ask to be here. They didn't knock on the door and say, Ty, can you let me in? No. Like parents did what they did. And now this seed is here, and we are gifted to steward who they are in the earth. And so I take that so literally. Like, they didn't ask to be here. So when I'm leaving a game and my nephew Kyrie's having a birthday swim party, guess where I'm going? To the swim party. If he asks me to get in the pool, guess what I'm doing? I'm getting in the pool. He didn't ask to be here. All he knows is I just left my game. He don't know I'm tired. I just taught. Like, he doesn't care about that. Like, his goal is to say, I got the breezy impact too. My TT came through for my 9-year-old birthday party. Got in the pool, swim with me. Memories last forever. Last forever. And you want to make sure you make a good memory. So that memory that I had from Easter when I was in like 8, 9 years old up until now is why my faith is so strong. You have to endure. It's love is long lasting. It's long suffering. It's not easily provoked. Like, you got to embody that, because I feel like looking at Jesus Christ himself, the things he endured all the way up into the cross, I don't even compare. The persecution, the ridicule, the beating, the lashes, the scorn, the thorns in the hands, like in the head, like that. That's something that even as I think about and reflect, it triggers my heart and emotions, because it's like, man, the least I can do is deal with a kid that's struggling in business class, or deal with a kid that's frustrated on the court. Like, Christ had to go all the way to the cross and die for people he didn't physically meet. God gave his only son, his only son. Top, you had your only son. You ain't giving him for the world.
For some random strangers.
Right.
No.
That's different for me. So even if following that story, I'm like, that's just inhumane. And so to be inhumane and so like selfless, that's just something I always wanted to embody. So that sparked a level in my faith that was like unmatched.
Yeah, I can only imagine what your ministry is like with those kids, because that's something I try to embody too. I do it, I guess, in a more secular way. I just think about the fact that I have the use of all my limbs, all my senses.
Yeah.
I'm blessed beyond, like, I'm so blessed. The fact that I can go in my house, turn on water, I got food in the refrigerator. Like, I'm so blessed. And so I always take the perspective that everything's great.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff that other people do. So I shouldn't be complaining about, X, Y, and Z that's going on. I should be appreciative, and I should be thankful, and I should be willing to bestow and serve others with what I have, the blessings that I have. This gift that people call it that I have to speak, I need to be able to push that out into the world. I need to be able to invite people like you onto this platform to speak, because you are a very impactful woman that people need to hear. And they need to hear it in a very intimate way. And like I said, I know your ministry is probably very impactful. I'm sure it's very impactful at your church. And I know it's very impactful with the girls, but I think the masses need to hear this.
Yeah. And I didn't never, like, Ty, honestly, I don't think about it. Like, I just be it. Like, I don't think about, like, how far my reach can go or how impactful can I be. Like, I just walk in and be Bree. Like, I just walk in and be like, I want Ty to have a long-lasting experience with me. So even if I just get an hour, 2 hours, what is he going to say when I leave the room? That's what anybody, what is my principal going to say when I leave the doors? What is my superiors are going to say, my administration, my academy coordinator, like, what are they going to say when I leave the room? When Coach Krieger and I have a conversation and an exchange, what is the lasting impact that I can even have on him? Like, I want to walk away from life's experience, when that dash is there, that it was long lasting, and that even though I'm not even thinking about reaching the masses, like, these are avenues by which you reach them. Maybe I should be maybe a little more conscious about it, but I'm just not. Because in my mind, I'm called to coach. So whether it's, again, in the court or off the court, coach gonna be coach.
And so I gotta ask you this question now, because we talked a little bit before we start shooting, and you talked a little bit now just how you'll reach out to Krieger. You would touch base with your mentors, and you'll talk about how some nights you don't get that much sleep, and you talk about you want to leave that impact no matter who you're with, whether it's with me, with administration, with your player, whoever it is. Does it ever get tiring? Does it ever become too much?
Ooh, exhausted. Because sometimes I have to sit and breathe. Like, I have to sit in the fact, like, you ain't getting no sleep last night. Or you took the pressures of your peers home, or you took the pressures of your players home, or you took the pressures of your school home. Like, and I sit in it, and I often battle between what legacy is and what it's not. I don't have a kid of my own just yet. And so I think about, sometimes I thrive on the tangibleness of I don't have a kid. So because I don't have a kid, like, I don't have a true legacy. Well, no, I have to redefine the definition of what legacy is. Like, this is legacy. And so exhaustion is there. And sometimes I do gotta relax and just like feel. Like, Bree, cry. Like, Bree, get it out. Like, but then I get back in and say, well, ain't no quit. Like, it's you get right back. I tie my shoes up. I wake up, say I get a chance to do it again. But yes, I get exhausted. But I feel like complaining about it slows my momentum down.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have my pockets, whether it's the drive home, no music, sometimes like no music.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to hear my thoughts. What are you thinking? What's on your mind? What's on your heart? Going through the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, what does family look like for you?
Mm-hmm.
What was the struggles? I try to heal from that. Therapy, counsel, mentors. I'm with my mentor now. Like, that's why we spend the time together, because she understands, like, excuse me, the holidays can be hard for people. That's why class giving was so important to me. Like, some of my students may never get a class giving. And people could laugh about every period bringing mac and cheese, but it was like they may not never get a mac and cheese for this Thanksgiving. So the least I could do. And I always bring, just in case another student can't. So nobody feels divided. Nobody feels left out, because people might be exhausted in this season. It's the holidays. They lost loved ones. They've lost jobs. They've lost opportunity. They can't provide. I know what it means to eat boxed mashed potatoes, pick up the box, and rice turds come out. Like, I understand that. So mouse turds come out. Like, I understand that. Like, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to be a little tougher. Like, and that's what really Tiger Core values is about. Like, and I don't think about it so much every day of like being exhausted, but yes, like, I get tired. And when I get tired, I know I got to refuel. When I start getting empty, I know I need water. When I don't, you ain't gonna just keep seeing a take on E and run out of gas. Cause now you causing more damage. Like, okay, the light came on, it said E, but you're like, oh, I know my car. Like, I got still another 30. And even when it go to zero, I still got like 20 more miles. Like, but I don't want to stretch myself like that, Ty. I want to be at the point where before the light comes on, I find a way to refuel so I don't have to always burn out.
What does that look like for you? What does that refueling look like?
My mentor, like, she is on 911. Like, last year when I was having all the adversity in the season, I sent a voice memo like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. She recentered me. She'll say, hey, watch this YouTube video. Go back to why you're called to do this. Go back to what your purpose to do. Go back. She takes me right. She resets and recalibrates me right to why I'm here. And it's like, is that girl worth still fighting for? And then I'll be like, yeah. She's like, okay, get back in the game, coach. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, even though it's so simple, it's like really a complex. I cannot be afraid to reach. And sometimes as a black woman, you're taught to be strong. I grew up with independent women. Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up seeing like a model family where there was a husband and wife who were like working and providing. It was, my mother was independent and she got it out the mud. If she had to hustle to get it, if she had to go on the light pole and turn the lights back on, which would be illegal, right? My mother did. I seen her snap a padlock off a night court because they put a lock on there because we had no gas. She did it. Now, there was moments that to me, that's extreme exhaustion. Because before you got to that moment, something happened that triggered you and was like, yeah, your gas about to get cut off, right? And so I want to reach before. I want to reach before there's that breaking point. And sometimes that reaching is tangible. Sometimes that reaching is my faith. Sometimes that reaching is just really settling in on Bree. I love to journal. I have multiple journals. So sometimes I just write my journal. Say how I feel, I'm frustrated, I'm mad, I'm upset. And then I research how to reverse frustration, being mad and being upset. And so I am a thinker. And so sometimes when you think, you got to be able to turn that off and turn it back on. You got to be able to feel and not feel. You got to be able to reveal and heal. And that's like an in and out. It's like us, a pick and roll, give and go. Like, we got to figure out how to come in and out of life in a way that keep us going, because ain't no quit.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I've been battling through in my therapy. Is my therapist was telling me that I have a problem sometimes. I guess I can just say displaying empathy, because I do feel for people, because I feel like I have a huge heart. People can do me dirty and I still won't exact the same thing onto them. But for me, she said she thinks I have a problem with patience, because my thing is, okay, this happened to you. All right, cool. What we gonna do next? Like
Yeah.
it's short. It's
Yeah.
short. Like
Yeah.
we got to keep moving, because
Yeah.
life keeps going past us. And she was telling me that you have to learn that it's not this or that.
Mm-hmm.
It's this and that.
Yeah, that's good.
And she was telling me that sometimes that the reason why you're so, because I don't like being impatient with people.
Okay.
I want to be patient. But she was saying that she believes it's derived from my impatience with myself. And I refuse to take a moment, take a beat, and just relax and tell myself that it's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be confused.
Yeah.
And then once you get that understanding, you can move on from there. But my thought is always, how can we get this done? And how can we get this done now?
Now.
Just how this interview came up. This interview came up. I'm like, okay, you can't go this day? No. All right, this day? Oh, no. Okay, this day? And I'm just so like, how we going to keep moving?
Persistency.
Yes, but sometimes it's to a fault. And so when I'm hearing you, a lot of you, I know you didn't say you weren't patient, but I hear a lot of, okay, what we on to next? What we on to next? And I felt that resonates so much with me, because I'm always on to the next.
Yeah.
What is the next
What
thing?
my mentor taught me is you just got to hit the right target,
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to keep moving. Like the impatience is a blessing and a curse, because it counters patience. That momentum to keep going is because you're trying to hit the target in the right way. So when the target shifts and you're over here and your impatience is reflective because you don't want to feel, you still got to hit that target, because that target, like she said, that empathetic target, you got to hit that target, because that target then reveals in you what still needs to grow up a little bit, what still needs to heal. Like, I'm the same way. Like, I don't want to sit in this long. We got stuff to do. Like, why are you still crying? Like, why are you upset? Like, when my team last year was so frustrated with themselves, I called my mentor. She was like, don't coddle tears that you didn't create.
Mm.
And I sat there and I listened to it, and I was like, what? Stop coddling tears that you did not create. Now, the stuff that you created, yes, get the healing and stuff that you need, but don't coddle stuff you didn't create. And I was like, well, that's it. That's all the answer I needed to even rectify myself, because internally there were tears that was created by Bree, and Bree needed to heal from that. And I'm sure the same, there were moments that aggravated or angered you or frustrated Ty that you need to rectify that. But the ones you didn't create, you ain't spending time with that. Like, that helps me balance. Like, I ain't create those tears. That was your parents. That was your mama. That was your dad. That was your other teacher. That wasn't me. I can help you navigate it, but I didn't create that. So I can't coddle that. I got to bring you solutions. That's why we so like, what's next? What's next? Because we're solution driven. And when you're solution driven, you don't stay in a problem long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I completely agree with
Yeah.
that, because anybody point me a problem, all right, this is how we can fix it. But I need to understand that that's not always the best thing to do. Like, sometimes we can be in that pity pool and let those people just kind of navigate that, feel that for a second, because we all do need time to grieve, and I'm working on it. So my therapist, I'm working on it. But I do want to touch on, so this is your second holiday season going through without somebody that was very very impactful for you.
Mm.
And we're talking about your uncle.
Mm.
I know you lost him last year, kind of like right before this time.
Yep.
Can you talk to us about how this has been lately?
It's been emotional, because I find myself like trying to fight grief, because you like, believe it or not, Brianna means strong one. And so I struggle with finding the strength, but also being strong. And so I've had to, and it probably hurt more so, because if you was in a room, my uncle, he'll tell you, like, you an athlete because of me. Like, you're the greatest athlete, the greatest coach because of me. Like, I'm your uncle. I'm your only uncle. My mom and them, it was 3 girls and 1 boy. He was my grandma's only son. And so that level of, like, father figure that he played for all his nieces and his own kids, like, was so impactful that We always wanted to see Uncle Fontaine. Uncle Fontaine coming. He coming from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He gonna be in town. He would have a lot of money right now because the Bears are winning. He was a huge Bears fan. For his repast, we all had Bears shirts with his name on the back, like because he was a Bears. He would be rolling in a dough, right? And he'd be like, you know, I'm your favorite uncle, and he made me rest assured in that. So sometimes I hear his voice, and there's a picture that I have in my phone where he has like white on at my first year here, and I look at that picture like, man, like it's like another one of my guardian angels. Like he's sitting in the crowd, he kind of like by himself, and he's just watching me coach, and I know like he's so proud, and I get like even choked up now, like thinking about even his impact in my athletic world. Like that man was a man full of wisdom, even though he had his own life hindrances and hiccups. He was a pillar in our family, and so when you lose a pillar, it's hard to like navigate again because you're trying to reestablish foundation. And so like even for my grandmother, like I know like I'll call my grandmother randomly after the Bears play, like you know they won because like Unc was out there on that field. My granny just be laughing, but he was just such a staple. And so there's a level of grief that I'm experiencing even in this season, but still at the same time got to coach, got to mentor, got to teach, got to, and those pressures come in, and then you like, okay, I got to feel. Like probably after this interview, like I'll be like really reflective, like, dang, I really miss you, right? And so you gotta allow grief to just come in its wave and embrace it. Like if it's painful, let it be pain. If it's happy, let it be happy. Like, but if it's something that you are refusing to face on, you're gonna find yourself 15 years, 20 years, 30 years in bondage to something that's no longer here. And scripturally the Bible says, you gotta let the dead bury the dead. And even though that's a hard statement to make, it's reality because he won't want me to just throw my life in the grave. He'd be like, nah, Bree, what you doing? Like, come on. You gotta feed your family. You gotta get them out of here. You gotta do this and do that. And so there is a level, since it's fresh because it's year 2, I still agree, like, man, he ain't coming to no more games. I can't call him in the car like, yeah, I did an interview and I shouted you out. Like he not hearing that no more. So I just try to carry components of him with me and help me kind of heal through the journey. But I'm still healing. I'm still healing.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a continuous
Yeah.
process too.
Yeah.
And one thing I heard you say, and it's something I kind of want to go back to a little bit. A lot of the people that you're talking with, the mentors and people you look up to, when it comes to like godparents or family members, have been female. So this is the first male one I've heard.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about your father, who he actually was? Was he present in your life? How did that go? Because I heard you say that your uncle was your father figure.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you?
That father subject could get a girl, because you think that women are supposed to be like their mothers and boys are supposed to be like their fathers. But I realize is that you need a healthy balance of both. Christ didn't create Adam and Eve just for, giggles. It was like, no, you need that balance of the male and female perspective in order to become one. My father was absentee, like there's no question. Like, and I'm still challenged with that. Every now and again he may pop in a game, or every now and again he may pop in a text message, but the consistency of that is not. And so the absence is heavy because when you're a female and you're in a sport like this and things get competitive, and like there's just some certain things that only dads can kind of understand, like where mom is more empathetic and nurturing and a reel you in, there's a disconnection there. And a part of it is my frustrations is that I want to not deal with it. Like I don't want to talk. It's like it's taboo. It's foreign language. When somebody asks me about it, I kind of want to tiptoe around it because I'm afraid of what I may feel in talking about it. And so even sitting here trying to have this conversation with you, in my brain, I'm still navigating. Like obviously, I want to pay respect to the man for bringing me into this earth, right? But the connectivity has never been there, and so having male influences for me was hard. Because I didn't trust. Like, if my own father wasn't around growing up, how then can I trust another man? And that's a part of my healing that I have to be transparent with. So it's very hard for me to be like, oh, he's like a spiritual dad, or he's like a father to me. Like, I'm not gonna throw that around because of my own internal pains and traumas. And in our culture, we see a lot of absenteeism when it comes to the father role. And so that is daunting. It grieves me. Those are things that sometimes leave me sleepless at night. Like, it's nothing like, and we talking about sports, having a proud dad when you like an athlete, or you score your first bucket, or you do this and do that. I ain't had that. And so I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate without that. And even in the moments where he reaches out, and I think probably for me, I put a shield up because I didn't really grow up with my parents like that. Yeah, I had my mom up until 7th, 8th grade, and she's still around, but I never had the connectivity. And so because I didn't have the connectivity, I just fell back. And me falling back made me realize that I didn't navigate that season well. I didn't navigate.
The reason why I bring that up, and I was looking, honestly, I think I was trying to search for answers for myself too with that question, because I never had my father around. I have no recollection of my father. Never had a text message, never had a call, never had a hug that I know of, never seen the man. If the man was to come into this locker room right now and speak, I wouldn't. I think he's just a random guy. Never had him. So my mom had to play both roles. And as you already said, God didn't make Adam and Eve just because.
Yeah.
And so my mom tried to fulfill both roles, but there's only so much that she can teach me about being a man when she's a woman herself. And so I had to navigate. I'm talking to my wife about should I explore trying to meet my dad. Talking to my therapist about is this reason why I act the certain ways I do, why maybe I lack empathy sometimes, because he wasn't there to teach me how to deal with that as a man. And so I had different father figures that came kind of later on in life, but me being young, it's kind of crazy for me to say this, but I'm already kind of stuck in my ways.
Yeah, for sure.
There's already beliefs that I've almost made concrete because of how long I've had to endure and navigate life this way. So I never know how to do it. And so now I'm in a world when I am an adult and I'm being judged off the way I move. I'm operating from positive role models I see around me. So that's why I'm pulling. I'm pulling from this. I'm pulling from that. I like that. Oh no, I definitely can't implement that. So I'm just pulling from these different things. I'm trying to operate and trying to make it do the best thing it can. And so I concur with you 100%. It's very hard when you don't have that balance that's there. But I believe that is what a lot of our students face. They don't have their balance. And so we can be those examples and teach them this is how you kind of navigate it without having that.
Yeah. And, seeing a father figure even in the house was so misconstrued because my mother experienced a lot of domestic violence. And so if a man could put his hands on a woman, like it was hard for me to respect a man because it's like, nah, you hitting my mama, y'all fighting, you kicking us off on I-57. We got to walk back to McDonald's to try to find a ride back to where we are. And it was hard because I didn't have a good, rich example of that. And then what almost was like a father figure passed away in a motorcycle accident, who was one of my coaches in 8th grade. Like all that stuff started to penetrate my heart. And so I put like a shield up and I really stopped searching. And it wasn't until like I found my faith that I realized like my true father is in Christ Jesus. Like, and even though that's real taboo or that may be like surface for people, that's what keeps me going. Is the pain there? Yes. Like my spiritual parents and my mentors, they be like, Bree, like I've seen you like looking because wanting to know about my history on my father's side, like through ancestry reports and trying to like go down this, but that would take me down a journey I ain't supposed to go. And so sometimes you got to put a pause on that because it's going to take you down a journey. It's wasted time. And God revealing or man revealing who your father is wasting your time because now you got to not only unheal and deal with the traumas and heal and reveal what you've been through, but now you want to try to maybe make a relationship with this guy. So that's almost like wasting your time. So I may not have a true answer for that, but what I can tell you is that, is it worth your time right now? And when you really settle in on that and everything you got going on, Ty, like you settle in on the fact like just not right now, right? Because whatever father you will be or father figure you will be to whomever, it's already being established, and it's being established based off your experience. And because you've experienced this, it's gonna help you with others. That's gonna be your true healing. Like, oh man, I know what it's like to be fatherless. No text message, no calls, like no message after the game, like good job, son. No message like, man up, get yourself. None of that, right? You gotta fight now for who Ty is and who Ty is gonna be for generations to come. And those generations may not always be a seed coming out of you, but it's gonna be the seeds planted in these young men that need to see an upstanding black man before them. Like, yeah, we idolize rappers and entertainers, but Ty can teach us life lessons. Like, he's so tangible. Like, we could get to Ty. We can't get to Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy, whoever they following, but Ty is a little more tangible. Like, I could reach him, he could reach back, give me keys to life. I have to do the same thing, Ty, and I'm telling you, like, it's a healing journey. We'll probably be talking off the grid about this subject matter more, but it's a healing journey for me because I know that if I spend too much time going over there, I lose sight of all this, all the good that he's given, the blessings that we have, the ability to have our limbs and still because if you look at homelessness, and maybe there's something you could journey down later, and you interview random people, somewhere there was a trauma. There was a lack of love. There was a lack of, I feel like the antidote and solution to life is love. And whatever that love looks like in measure to whomever you're giving it to, that's the secret sauce. Like, you go interview a homeless man, they'll tell you, oh, both of my parents died in a house fire when I was a kid. And you be like, dang, no wonder you out here with nobody. And you start hearing stories of how trauma consumed them instead of conquering trauma. And so I think that's the approach you and I are both at. It's like, we want to conquer our trauma so that we can be living testimonies to a real reality. Not a reality series, but a real reality of the experience that we experience to help somebody else.
Yeah, and man, you've been saying so much stuff that I fully agree with. I know you set your ministry on fire.
Oh man,
every week, because you speak some powerful words. But that love thing, and so I was doing a lot on Instagram, and I still do it on and off here and there. But I always ended it with make sure you spread the love, because I think love is the most powerful tool. Yes, because you would do some damage to your loved ones physically, maybe, because you love them. Yes. But you also go out your way and do some very caring things for them because you love them. I feel like love is the most powerful thing out there. Most powerful thing.
I agree. Wholehearted, 100%. Like, anything, kill it with love. Somebody don't open the door for you, kill it with love. Like, you mad at your administration, kill it with love, with measure. Like, obviously, I'm not giving my colleagues and my coworkers a measure of love that I'm giving my siblings or my mentees or my youth church, right? Because there's measures, but if we just focus on love, that's why people get the breezy impact, because I just love who I love. If I'm coming in this building, we got to work together, I'm going to love it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to hate it. I'm going to love it because, like you said, love covers a multitude. It does.
It does. And we can be here for hours.
I know.
There's so much more that I want to get into, but I think one thing I want people to take away from this is that I don't even think we scratched the surface on everything that you've been through. Yeah. There's so much more that we can sit here and talk about. But I think the stuff that we did, a lot of it was heavy. But I would like the audience to really pay attention to how you shifted it all.
For sure.
And it was seamless.
Yeah.
It was seamless. You talked about how traumatic and how painful this stuff was, but in the midst of you telling the story and going in depth about it, it wasn't that at the end of the story. It was how it builds you and how it helped guide you to your purpose. I think that's so huge that you were able to probably unintentionally do that. And just builds more into who you are as a person. And so once again, we appreciate you for that. Next thing I want to get into is our top 3 series.
Okay.
And so it's just 3 different questions that we ask, and we just want you to answer them honestly as transparent as you can. Okay. And so it's like more of a rapid fire thing.
Okay.
But if you want to expound upon it, feel free to do so.
I'm cool with
so
rapid.
The first question is, What do you believe? What are three things that you believe that every young woman should learn before they graduate from high school?
I think they should learn to love themselves. I think they should learn to love others. And I think they should learn how to not make a false comparison of what they see in social media become their reality.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
What are three things that you have learned from coaching?
Whew. I've learned how to be not only just a coach on the court, but off the court. I've learned that every coach needs to be coached. Like, even in your season, like in season, before season, and after season, you need to be coached. And then I also learned that every coach needs their rest and reset. Like, there's a moment that you just need to shut the valve off, reset, and get back in the game. The clock's always going to run for you, but you got to learn how to stop the clock and prepare for the next game. And I think sometimes as a coach, we're just on, that sometimes we forget to stop the clock. Mm-hmm. The clock needs to stop so that now you can prepare for the next game and take it from there. So learn how to be coached, find a coach, and learn how to stop the clock as a coach.
And so that last one segues perfectly into our last question for this segment. What are the three different places or ways you like to recharge?
Man, my mentor is my number one recharging space. So whether I find her on a conversation, or audio, she got YouTube channels. Shout out to Camilla Stevenson, like Healthy and Better. Like, she's probably my number one safe place. Number two, I go to like a Barnes and Nobles, a Starbucks. I find a spot that's not familiar that invites me into a softer space that forces, especially when I want to learn more information and I need to lock in. I got to come away from home environment because that's comfortable, come away from school environment because that's comfortable, and find a place of solitude, which is like a bar. And I just find random ones. It could be Bolingbrook, Romanville. Like, it doesn't matter because I don't ever want to get familiar with the space. So I'll just get in my car. And lastly, I'm going to take a ride and talk to God. Like, whether it's in a positive light or a negative, I am giving it to him. Sometimes I'm Jay-Z and all the way through the heart of the city. And then sometimes I am worshiping all the way through the heart of the city. So I'm going to get in that car and ride, and we about to have some conversations.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of similarities in that. Like, I thought I was kind of weird. Like, sometimes I just like to ride in silence.
Yeah.
And every single day, without fail, I ride to work, no music on, and pray. Praying is my first thing I do every day.
Can't live without it.
No, I have to do it. I feel off. I feel like I have to pray on my ride into work. Mm. Even if I'm going to a gym. So I go to the gym in the morning before I go to work. So I pray on the way to work. I might listen to music on the way back home when I shower, and then I pray again I pray to go into working out, and then I ride back with music, and then I pray going into work. It's just something that it's a recharging space. Yeah. It's sometimes I love to sit in my thoughts. So sometimes I might be driving somewhere by myself. It might be kind of far, maybe like 30 minutes away, maybe an hour away. Yeah. And I'll get almost all the way there and realize I ain't turn no music on. I've just been thinking this whole time.
And then you at your destination, you're like, man, I'm here already. Mm-hmm. And when you think like, man, I should turn some music, you're like, no, I'm just going to sit here.
Yep.
And just embrace it. Yep. And it feels good sometimes. Like, and I agree with you. You need to be able to control your day. When you wake up in the morning, like, I am so intentional. Unless I know I got a business endeavor, I don't care about that phone. I don't care about no emails. Ain't nobody emergency greater than my emergency with God right now. Like, I am about to stop and have a conversation with him before I start my day. I start my day with him. I end my day with him because I can't do it without him. I just can't. Because if Bree could do it, I'll be lashing out at all y'all. I'll just be frustrated, mad, angry. But if I allow God to do it, it's a different type of decrease me so you be increased in my life. And you leave him with the breezy impact, the breezy effect. So hopefully it was a breeze that came through here today.
It was. It was. I feel like we definitely felt that breeze. I think this was it was a heavy conversation. I didn't feel heavy.
Okay.
This was a very impactful conversation. I thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Like, just taking and like you said, we've been chopping it up for the last 3 years, and I think we've dropped deposits enough to know. But this seems more than a conversation. It seems personal. And
Very much
so
so.
I feel like it's a safe space to reach the masses in a way that I wouldn't have done it. Like I wouldn't have just stepped in there and like, hey, I'm finna air my stuff out on front of like I wouldn't have done that, right? But because you invited me into this conversation, um, is behind the lens that people don't like. They see me in the light, they see me in the platform, they see me on the stage, but to sit in it and have a conversation, it makes me feel more at ease. So I am super grateful that you was like, you know what, I think that's a story worth noting. I think that's a story worth conversing about. And I wish you nothing but a myriad of blessings over because this is ministry for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes even for you, it could be a thankless job. But I want you to embrace it and take it because it's a part of your purpose. And this your platform. You minister it too. All walks of life, all religions, all business careers and opportunities. And I want you to just sit in it and embrace it because you are one of the 1%ers too. And when you meet a 1%er, you don't just throw that out there. You know a 1%er when you see it. And so while you're pursuing that 1%, you get 1% better every day, every moment, every opportunity. But I want to thank you as well for having me on your set today.
I appreciate that. I received that too.
For sure.
I received that. Two last questions I want to ask you. One, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you feel like you want to share with the audience before we go?
I think we kind of hit it. I would just want to encourage the
Or
audience,
advice.
the audience to do the internal work. Like I know we want to do the external, like we want to get this high paying job, we want to go to the league, we want to go to college, but do the internal work, like the gut work, and start from the foundation up. And I think sometimes we forget you can't build a house without the foundation. You build a house on stony ground, on rocky soil, it's not gonna sustain itself. But shift your foundation so the house can be built. Once the house starts getting built, then you can add the cosmetics, the teaching, the coaching, those cosmetics. Like that's all the exterior stuff that everybody looks at. But it's the internal work that we all really have to do. That's the real self-love. And if you don't have people around you correcting and adjusting you, that's not self-love because now you're just taking what you know and you using that as this is who I am. No, but when Ty stops me and say, oh, you're impatient, oh, that was unkind, or you didn't handle that, Bree, in a way that I felt you should, embrace it because that's the real self-love. So self-love is just not idolatry, but it's embracing those around you to get you to where you're going to lay solid foundation.
I like that. Hope they receive that and take that with them. It's that internal, but it's very hard to look at yourself in the mirror.
It is.
It's very hard to do that internal work.
It is.
That's
the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
You got to do it, though, because the mirror is a direct reflection of who you are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I could look in the mirror right now and be like, girl, you need your edges touched up. You need to put some mousse on them braids. They get a little old, but that's your mirror. What is your mirror speaking to you? And not just externally, but internally. Don't override the internal saying like, no, Bree, you are grieving. Mm-hmm. No, Bree, you are happy. No, Bree, you are a giver. No, Bree, you are a light. Like, don't override the internal work. Yeah. That's first.
Yeah. And I think I would be remiss if we got to be able to get in contact with you.
For sure.
So can you please let the people know? I'll put it on screen as well.
Sure.
But let the people know what's your handles. How can they get a hold of you? How can they follow you? And what
you can hit me up. I'm on Instagram at BreeBreezy23. And I'm also on TikTok, Brianna Janae 23. And Facebook, I'm just Brianna Blackman. And so whether it's on the court, whether it's at the school, whether it's even in my community, I'm always walking to somebody in a direct path that I know. But if you're really trying to look me up, I'm all over social media, especially with my new content wave.
Being viral. Yeah. This is a very impactful interview. I'm so thankful that you agreed to do it. I know you usually don't supposed to say when you record this, but I think it's very notable when we're doing this. Okay. It's Thanksgiving morning that Bree decided to grace our platform with her presence, and a time where she's battling through different things. She created the time for this platform, and I really do appreciate you for doing so. Wish you nothing but the best. I know we're gonna talk probably a long time after this, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for staying tuned in this long. As you all know, that love is very powerful. We have to make sure that we're spreading the love, and this was just a way of doing that. We're peeling back the curtains. We're going behind the veil, behind the roles, and learning about somebody. So let's make sure that we're doing the internal self-work, as Bree was already alluding to, and make sure that we are spreading the love to our surroundings, to our peers. Peace.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Dang, y'all got me today.